Welcome to our Academic Skills video series, hosted by me, your favourite librarian. This video is going to explore how to record your sources. By this, I mean how you can keep accurate records of what you have read in addition to your thoughts on this. To start, you need two different things. The first is knowing what you were researching. You cannot record your thoughts and ideas if you don't know what you're trying to find out. Make sure that you have that research question nailed down. Secondly, to record sources, we need some sources to record. If you're unsure how to go about finding sources, do take a watch of the How to Find Sources video for some handy tips. Okay, confident you have both a solid research question and your sources to read? Then let's get this show on the road. Let us start by thinking about a simple question. Why record anything? Well, firstly, we want information to refer back to. I might want to double check exactly what was written down or reread over a certain part of that text again. Also, and very importantly, it is vital that I can reference where I've gotten my information from. When your assignments are assessed, you need to clearly reference any material that you have either directly quoted or paraphrased. If you don't have accurate records, you won't be able to do this. I want you to think about what details you need to record from your sources to be able to reference it, such as the author. Pause this video and note down all of those that you can think of. Well done. Hopefully you have a list in front of you. The way I would advise you to think about this is what sort of details I would ask you if you came into the library and asked me for a book. I would obviously ask you who wrote it and what's it called, so we need the author and title. There are other pieces of information that you should record which form part of your reference. Not all of these are applicable to all sources. For example, a journal title will only be relevant to an article, and a date of access will only be relevant to a digital source. You can see there an example of what a footnote reference would look like. If I hadn't recorded all of those pieces of information, the author, title, publishing location, publisher, date of publishing, and page quoted from, I will be trying to find this, probably with my assignment deadline looming. I would strongly advise all of you to write this information down before you start undertaking your reading to ensure you have it ready for referencing. To learn more about referencing, make sure to take a watch of the How to Reference video. Okay, we have established that we need to write down details of our source so we can accurately reference it. We are now going to think about how we can write down our findings from our reading in a source table. All of these models abide by the same rules. We want a system that we can apply consistently, a system that is accurate, and also a system that's easy to use. You could create your source table in an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document. I would say go with whichever you find easiest to use. Let's have a look at our basic source table. At the top, it has a space to write a full academic reference. Do this before you read. It's very easy to think, ooh, referencing is dull, and ignore this, but current you is making it harder for future you. Add those referencing details in first. You then have space to add in any quotes from your sources, as well as your notes and comments on these. The last column is a space for the page that you have quoted from. Not only does this mean you can easily add this to your reference, but also you can go back and reread a section if you need. This model has the same basic source table with an added heading. My initial reading is probably going to be centered around the wider context of my assignment. This is an ideal first source table to create, as this way I can add in useful information to ground me in my topic area. Our next model has the same basic source table, but this time we have added a more specific heading to it. As I have a clear research question, I can divide my sources into different themes or categories. With this model, I would have a source table with arguments for economic reasons and another with arguments against economic reasons. This is beneficial for two reasons. Firstly, it means I can ensure that all of my sources aren't focused singly on one side of the argument. Secondly, it helps me to structure my essay. As I already have two tables with arguments for and against, I can easily add this evidence to these parts of my essay as I write it. The last model that we're going to have a look at has an additional tag column. When undertaking long pieces of work, you may well end up with lots of different entries to your source tables. Adding tags allows you to filter your findings quickly and easily. I could, in this example, add tags based around certain people, specific events, or maybe central themes such as economic, political, social. There is no set model that you must use when recording sources. The important thing to think about is how you want to be able to easily find the information you need in what you have recorded. I hope this has helped you to think more about how to approach recording your sources. To end, I'm going to throw down some top tips to keep in mind when recording. Firstly, record before you read. Write down that full academic reference, as if you only write down some sketchy details, it will be a nightmare trying to find the full ones later on. Secondly, think of what you want to find. It's no good creating loads of different source tables if you can't use them effectively later on. You may need to tweak them over time or refine them, and that is fine. You have a basic model to begin with. Lastly, remember that everyone is here to help you. You can speak to your teacher if you're struggling with your recording, and you are always welcome to drop into the library or book a one-to-one meeting with me using the Book a Librarian tile. Do also take a watch of the other videos in the skills series to help hone your academic skills further. Happy source recording!